Hello, welcome back to Al Talks. This is episode number 13. Yeah. So in today's episode, I have a couple of topics to cover, but I think, yeah, I don't think, I'm not sure if I mentioned in the last episode, but I set up an Instagram for the podcast. It's at Al Talks Podcast, and so far, like I use Instagram myself personally, so I really enjoy that platform. Um, I don't use it a lot. I used to a lot more when I used to go places and travel and post pictures up there afterwards. But obviously nobody's traveling now. Well, people are traveling, but I'm not traveling because currently restrictions, lockdown, and all that. So, but it's the thing that I don't like about Instagram is the fact that it don't let you post links like other than in your bio. So on my bio for the podcast, I have the channel. I have this channel linked, but any link I put up beyond that link, I can only reference that link and only come up. So um, it's kind of awkward that any other links that it just makes it more difficult for. Well, not more difficult, but how do I put it? Some people just want to click the link and go to Reddit and copy and paste and all that. So it's a bit, I don't know, but um, I think I might just on my Instagram page start just putting links to using my channel as the link bio rather than anything else, and then but then again people have to go look for that specific episode. So it's I don't know why Instagram did it like that, but you know um it is what it is. I suppose there's nothing I can do about it. So now I have Instagram and Facebook for the channel. I've also been, like I keep saying, I just, I'm doing stuff in the background. Working on this channel. Obviously one of the background things that I've been working on recently is the Instagram. It's that comes with its own. What I like about Instagram is the reach that it gives me. Like I mentioned, not being able to post links is slightly annoying, small hindrance, but I mean the reach that Instagram possesses, it's I know even though Instagram is owned by Facebook, it's I think I have a Facebook page. I set that up at the very very start. The start this year. I think 12th of January, if I'm not mistaken. I think yeah, I think it was the same day I recorded the podcast, and it's like obviously Facebook and Instagram are interlinked, but I've gotten bigger outreach from Instagram since I've joined. It's I think it's brought me to a wider audience. But like I was saying, in the background, I'm not sure if I'll try and post these podcasts to other platforms. Like I like using YouTube. YouTube sends me an email every month to give me tips and ideas and explain how you brand your channel and all of this. That's where if you go to my channel page, you'll see the channel trailer, and then there's another feature trailer that's for people who already subscribed. Just to give kind of a not an introduction, because that's what the channel trailer is. The feature trailer that I did was explaining what the what the channel is. The feature the channel trailers, an introduction really. What I talk about and stuff like that. I'm recording this actually on the 1st of April, which is April Fool's This would be out like it comes on Tuesdays. But every year, each company puts out like a funny thing. I wonder what the funny things will be. I haven't looked any of them up today because it just I'll discuss that in episode 14, whatever funny things that companies come up with. But that's that. In terms of like a weekly podcast roundup that I usually do, well, like I mentioned before, Bobby Lee and his podcast, Tiger Belly. I know that Erik Griffin, who's a comedian, is really, really good friends with Bobby Lee. They're very close. I've never watched any of the Tiger Belly episodes of Erik Griffin because I was saving them because I wanted to watch other episodes. It was kind of a back thing. It's like because I know just from hearing how Bobby talks about Erik Griffin in other episodes, I know they were good. You know, um, like I remember reading in one of the comments about Tiger Belly when Erik Griffin is on, and somebody said Erik Griffin like reels in Bobby's craziness, and it's really that comment was completely spot on. It was true because if you listen to any of the Tiger Bellies with Erik Griffin, uh, you know Erik Griffin's podcast is called. He started a little while ago. It's called Riffin with Griffin. I thought it was very fun. It's a funny title, funny play on words. Much more creative than the one I came up with, but management says the they were very like I haven't really listened to much of Erik Griffin's stand up because he's. But in the first episode that I watched, I talked about, and also Erik Griffin was a guest on Ali's podcast as well, and Bobby was talking about how he was performing, and Bobby said that he had a bad set or something, and Erik Griffin was like, some people like your comedy, some people won't, and he had a very informed and well thought out opinion that he gave to Bobby, and you could see it made Bobby feel better, and from there on you could like I said, I left those episodes till a while, and because I wanted, because I was saving them. It's like when you have on Netflix, your watch list or whatever. That's what I was kind of, save it. And then, I was like, and that you could straight away see why they're very close. Obviously, Bobby insults everyone on the podcast. He calls Gilbert Flatface, one of his producers. But I mean, that's just Bobby's personality. But you can truly see like they're friends, and it's like Erik Griffin brought up a question. Said if Bobby, you were on your deathbed and you were dying, who would be in the room and who would you call? And he said he might start mentioning all these people, and Erik Griffin was kind of waiting for him to mention his name, and Bobby kept mentioning people, and Erik Griffin was like, anybody else? And Bobby's like, I don't think so, and he was like, what about me? He goes, but Bobby's like, but yeah, you would obviously be in the room, so it wouldn't, it's not people that I want to call or whatever. It's because you'd be there, and it's. You have pretty much have to listen to the episode to get it, but it was a very funny bit. And then again, when he was on Ali Makovsky's podcast, The Resting Bitch. Um, I think it's called Resting Bitch Face. You know, another very clever title. uh, Once again, he had, you know, very well researched and formulated opinions about the topics they were discussing, and I was like, for me, it's very interesting to have to be, well, not to be, to hear just like someone who's so versed and well knowledge in a certain topic, you know, because it blows my mind. Because, you know, like in the last episode, I talked about like heavy metal, but I mean, I don't know the ins and outs of every single band I listen to. You know, some people do, and it's, to me, it's mind-boggling. But I suppose if if you're passionate about something, you'll, go into the ins and outs of it. Um, but just again, back on the topic of, Bobby Lee not liking a stand-up. I mentioned before, uh, Joey Diaz not liking, him doing two specials and they think they sucked, and him doing the This Is Not Happening for Ari and the special for Netflix being much better. Because I listened to the very last podcast, um, the very last The Church of What's Happening Now. It was Joey Diaz's first podcast with Lee Sayat, and he had Felicia Michaels on as the last guest of it. Well, they had one more episode after that. The episode where they showed Pauly Shore. I think he was on edibles, and Pauly Shore was just crazy. That episode is actually probably one of the best church episodes. Hilarious. But Pauly Shore probably didn't find it hilarious, but when they released it, but I mean, Pauly Shore is a comedian. I'm sure he sees the haha in it, if you will. But he mentioned it to Felicia. He said, I thought those specials were shit, crap or sucked or whatever. And Felicia, or the first few podcast episodes, he thought about crap. Felicia's like, no, Joey. She said, you're an amazing comic. You're an amazing comedian. You're very hardworking, and she kind of got upset. She's like, why do you put yourself down? And Joey Diaz said, you're your own biggest critic. And I know that's true, because straight away the minute he said that, I was like, yeah, that's true. Some people, they mightn't do it, but generally most people, no one criticizes them more than themselves. Um, that's kind of actually why I do background work on the channel, because I look at other podcasts and they have this and the other, and I want to have that, but I mean, it takes time to build up. Like, I'm learning as well. You now see that in the thumbnails there's this channel art or whatever you want to call it. In the future, I have to hope to have more. Have like YouTube logo, Facebook logo, stuff like that, or maybe other stuff when I go into other platforms. If that happens, like I said, I'm not sure. I'm thinking I'm really considering Spotify, but I think you have to have a distributor. I don't know. I'll do a bit more research into it. I obviously, like, I have other friends who do podcasts and music, like the Plastic Cowboys. They're on Spotify. The Crafty Crew podcast, they're on Spotify too. So I don't know. I suppose we shall see in the future what to bring. I'm just having a look at my notes. Yeah. yeah, this is like I said, this is the 1st of April. I'm recording this, but it'll come out it'll be Tuesday. But in the news, there was a ship, the Ever Given, I think it's called. It got stuck in the Suez Canal for a couple of days. You know, Suez Canal, I think, is the second busiest canal in the world after Panama, I think. And it was, it was. I don't. When I seen the pictures, I was like, first of all, how or why the captain of the ship, because the Suez Canal is not very wide. This was a massive container, not container, yeah, container block. No, it was a massive super. I think they call them super tankers. It's not an oil tanker, but it's a massive container ship. I think it weighs like, I don't know, like 220 tons, 1,000 tons or something. It's a massive ship, and it got stuck sideways. So you could imagine the canal is like this, but the ship was stuck like this in the canal, blocking it. And straight away, people started making memes about it. I think the funniest one I seen was in the first Lord of the Rings. Spoilers for a movie that God knows how long, how old. But first Lord of the Rings came out. At this stage, it's like it's not really a spoiler. But it was two statues and there was a waterfall. This was at the very end of the movie, the first one, The Fellowship of the Ring. And someone had photoshopped the picture of the Ever Given or the Evergreen. I think it's Ever Given ship that was stuck in the water because there's two big statues, it was stuck at the bottom of the statues where their feet were. I thought it was really funny, but there was loads of memes. But I mean, the minute I seen it, I know obviously it caused massive disruptions for worldwide shipping and everything else. People are actually saying that it was going to disrupt the supply of PS5s coming in because they're on short demand. But the minute I seen it, I just found it funny. I was like, the thing that I was going through my head when I seen it was like, what was the captain thinking? Because it's such a narrow canal. You're like, he knows he can't reverse. And another meme I seen was in one of the Austin Power movies when he was stuck in a tunnel in this little go-kart thing. I was trying to reverse, and it was kind of someone photoshopped the Ever Given onto that as well. It was another funny meme. But I mean, I was like, at first when I seen it, like I said, I found it funny. But then all these questions started going through my head. Why? How did they eventually freed it? But they were using like a small, tiny excavator to excavate, and I was like, would you not? Because it's such a busy shipping, lane. I would, I don't know much about civil engineering, a canal building, whatever else. But I mean, they got it free in the end. But it was like, I don't know. I don't know why. It was just. It was really strange. It was like, would they not have pulled it out quicker? Why couldn't I think it ran aground or something, because I don't know, but they got it free eventually. But yeah, it was nevertheless very funny. Obviously not funny for the people who had stuff in that container ship or companies, but that was the first thing that kind of rang to my head. Bit of comedy relief during these covidial times, as Joe Diaz puts it, or he calls it covidial situations. You shouldn't go to parties and meet up with loads of people, which is obviously true, because then you'd help spread the virus. But anyway, that pretty much wraps it up for this episode. I'll post links to my Instagram page. I think I might have already started posting links to it. in previous in the previous episode, but I'll start posting links to every episode in the description, like I do for every video that I release, every podcast I release. But I mean, that's it. Don't think I've, like I said, I'm still thinking about other platforms, Spotify and the likes. I also think about bringing maybe more people on to help me work on the podcast. That's also a possibility. I'm not sure. I'm still trying to figure out the guest thing with Kieran, or I might have another guest on. I'd like to get people who are involved in the podcast in the town that I live in, and I have two friends who stream on Twitch, so I might get them to go on. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching, and back every Tuesday. If we're not back on Tuesday, I'll let you know on either on Facebook or the Instagram page now. So that is pretty much it for today. Thank you very much, and I'll see you next week.